Hey everybody, welcome to another Choices Finding Your Joy. And of course, here I am today with an amazing guest. I am thrilled to share with everybody today Stephen Littlefield. He is the author of The Business of Gratitude, an absolutely amazing book. I have just loved it. He's a leader in the mortgage loan industry and the founder of Infinite Fundings. I want to say thank you, Stephen, for joining us.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's just delightful to be with you again.
Oh, I just love it. I love it. I met Stephen about a month ago and just absolutely connected with him and said, oh, would love to have him on the show. So yes, I love it. Well, let's begin, Stephen, with a bit of your background and what brought you to where you're at today.
Well, a bit of my background is that I went to college and my path was to follow my father's footsteps and go into medicine. I had studied chemistry with an emphasis in biochemistry. And I had a setback where the week before I was supposed to graduate, I got arrested and processed and convicted for the possession of cocaine. Now, I had some time on my hands and I didn't know what I was going to do. So, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 1984, we didn't have Google, we didn't have Bing, and we didn't have Yahoo. We had the Yellow Pages, the newspaper, want ads, and the Dewey Decimal System. And I had to figure out a new career. So I had some time on my hands. And so I investigated and did research. And I remembered in psychology class, people need one of three things. Well, actually, they need three things: food, shelter, and clothing. And, I'm not a fashion guy. And my brother's the foodie. I love to eat his food. And what I focused on was shelter. People needed shelter. And I got into the business of finance because it was very difficult for people to understand. And in that beginning, I realized that I had to teach people. And a couple things happened. One is I learned from Dale Carnegie that 80% of all sales are made after the eighth contact, and 90% of salespeople stop after the first contact. Mm-hmm. So with that piece of wisdom, I thought to myself, how can I contact people more often without being annoying? We all have internet today and we have emails. And so you can still ping people, but it's not as personal. So the second thing I realized is that the principle that success is being in the right place at the right time. And I thought, how can I be in more places more often? And I was at a real estate seminar and I had met 60, 70 realtors and my pockets were bulging full of real estate or full of cards. And I realized how Dale Carnegie was right, because there's no way to really call every one of these people. And at the program, in the very back of Tom Hopkins' workbook, was a simple thank you note system. And I thought to myself, I can do this. And I arduously worked, and I would write the envelope, and then I would write the card, and I would put it in the envelope, and then I would put the stamp on it, and then I would mail it. And I'd scribble out, and I'd write the address wrong, and it was grueling, and I couldn't figure it out, but I just put in the time. I would spend my time at night to get them done. And one morning I woke up, I go, there's got to be an easier way. And what kept me going on it, though, is that within a week of me sending out those cards, I was invited into real estate offices that had been closed. And when you're a mortgage loan originator, a closed office means that you get to see the receptionist and they go, oh, we'll take your flyers, but you don't get to go inside. You don't get to talk to anybody. And it worked, though. This thank you note got me past the receptionist onto the broker's desk, and they made the phone call. And if I can fast forward today, as I send a thank you note, now I get LinkedIn requests, I get Facebook requests, I get emails. So the system, even today, works actually faster and more efficient than back then. And to continue with my story, is I had to say there's got to be a better way. And so that's how I built the system that I was using. And then what brought me forward, so I'd been doing it for 30 years. I've funded over 4,000 loans. I've funded over $1 billion worth of mortgages for people. I've helped thousands of people into homes, plus all my employees. And in fact, at Signature Funding, we had a program where if a real estate agent gave us a name and a phone number, we'd send them a thank you note and a $25 gift certificate to Brigantine, which is one of our local restaurants here. And the joy of that is the reminder of the gratitude. We wanted to train people that we were grateful for the name and the phone number. Scientifically, you need to talk to 100 people to originate one loan. Now, some people it might be, hey, do you have a mortgage? Yes. Are you happy? Yes. Well, that's one. Now I got 99 to go. You have to talk to people. So the more people you can talk to, the faster you're going to generate your loan originations. And so with understanding those principles, I needed to talk to as many people as possible, as fast as possible. And the handwritten thank you note did two things for me. It helped me become more places more often, and it helped me bridge that gap from the first meeting to the second meeting. Well, then I'd get the first meeting, my second contact would be the thank you note. Well, once they got the thank you note, then I'd make a phone call, or they would call me, or they'd send me a thank you note for my thank you note. So if you do the math, we're now at 3. Well, that opens the door with a limited chance of rejection for me to get to 4 and 5 and 6 and build that foundational principle.
Yes.
In 2014, they found a cancerous tumor in my colon. And it was supposed to be a simple resection, and they were going to send me home and rest for 30 days. Well, they sent me home. The staple popped. My body went septic. I'd have emergency surgery. And there I was laying in bed with time on my hands again. I said, what am I going to do? And it's at that moment when I was laying there in bed, hooked up to machines and IVs and my favorite, the green button. I said, okay, if I don't get out of here and I can just leave one thing behind, what would be that one thing? And the one foundational principle that has built my business and built my relationships with everyone that I have has been staying in touch through the handwritten note. And the handwritten note is something you can send. Thank you. It was great meeting you. Congratulations on your promotion. Congratulations on a family event. You know, thank you for the referral, which was a big one. It's also a note that worked out really well for me is I regret I wasn't able to do business with you. Not every loan that you originate gets approved. And sometimes people are sad because there's a credit issue or an income issue, or there's something that changes in their life. Once I started sending that note out, my business actually doubled because I was grateful for the opportunity to work with them. I was regretful that we weren't able to solve their problem now. And by following up with that, it kept the door open, and other people said, you know what? Thank you for letting me know that. And they came back, and then they brought their friends back because I was able to reach out to them in a non-threatening way that allowed them to understand that I cared and that they weren't just a number that crossed my desk. They weren't just a loan that went by. And what it's helped me understand is the principle of what you focus on expands. And if you focus on things that are aggravating to you, you know what the universe will do? It'll bring up more opportunities for you to be aggravated. If you focus on gratitude, then the universe is going to give you more things to be grateful for. And that's what this comes down to, is finding out and developing your gratitude mindset. Because every one of you has something to be grateful for. I'm pretty sure most of you can see right now. I'm pretty sure most of you can probably hear right now. And I can guarantee 100% of you are at least breathing, or else you probably wouldn't be listening to the show. Those are simple things that we overlook and forget because they're on automatic pilot by our subconscious mind. That subconscious mind that's taking care of your breathing, your sight, your hearing, your skin sensations, your smell, that's the same subconscious mind that attracts gratitude into your life or discomfort into your life. And so what you focus on is what's going to expand. So when I was writing The Business of Gratitude, I broke it down into very simple steps of how to develop the gratitude mindset. And number one is look around and say, hey, what is one thing I can be grateful for right now?
Love that. Mm-hmm.
And if you take it to the next step, which is why the handwritten thank you note is so powerful, when you send a note card, you're sending a little packet of energy. It's your love, your joy, your gratitude, your appreciation. And that goes through the mail, and then somebody else gets to open that up and feel your energy, and they get to feel good too. And all of a sudden, they're grateful that they've met you. And in your note, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Just say where you met. So, Paula and I met up at Reno Peppermill. Her husband was in a golf tournament that I played in for 15 years. And I've been absent for 5 years due to my surgery and recovery and going through. My friend Preston Davis is up there, and I pinged him. I said, hey, what are the chances of me playing in that golf tournament? And he sent me this very gracious email back. He says, Stephen, I haven't seen you in 5 years. I can't put you in that golf tournament, but I can have you come up and visit. So if you know anything about casinos, you have to play to play. And so I hadn't played. But my relationship with Preston was strong enough over the years of me visiting with him, sending him thank you notes, that I got the invitation to come up there. And so I went up and had a great time. We met several people, and Paula was one of the people we met. When I got home, I sent Paula a thank you note. I said, Paula, it was great meeting you, at the Pepper Mill with Preston, and there was another couple up there. And so we shared that bond, which then allowed us to exchange emails. And the crazy thing is, as I added up, we are now at 10 contacts. And so you have to consider this is a sale for her to invite me on to her interview. So we met, we exchanged thank you cards, we've exchanged some emails, we saw each other a couple times at the tournament. She was able to read my book, The Business of Gratitude. And so relationships develop over time. It wasn't that we met and then instantly I'm on her radio show. And it's the same with everything we do. It's about just moving it a little bit forward down the road. That's all any of us can do. And that's what the Business of Gratitude is about. It's about understanding what you want to be grateful for and allowing your subconscious mind to see it in the universe so you attract more of it into your world. And as you attract more of it into the world, you can also be proactive. Because as you meet people, you can welcome them in and send them a note and say, thank you for coming into my world. Thank you for being part of my life. And I'm so grateful that the universe brought us together. And so, I'm curious, Paula, when you read the book, what was one thing that stood out for you?
Oh, well, gratitude in itself is something I'm very passionate about. But there was a quote, our job is to be happy. I saw something.
Our job is not to be here just to collect wealth. It is we are here to be happy.
Yes.
I mean, that is from the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
The Dalai Lama says we have one purpose in life, and that is to be happy.
Yes. And I love that. And I loved what you talk about in the book. Really, it's so extraordinary and powerful, but simple in people with any kind of business or just relationships to take the time to write that thank you note. And as you said, send it. That person receives it. I remember when I opened your thank you card, I was like, oh, a thank you card. And it brought a smile to my face. It brought me joy. And I really feel that's such a huge message in your book. And it's a message that everyone can learn from and, you know, open up to so many points in this book. I just
Well, thank you. And the joy is it's implementable. And there's been research that has showed that just by, you know, Oprah Winfrey, she does the gratitude journal. And just by the daily practice of writing in your journal gratitude, the things you're thankful for. There's also a 5-minute gratitude journal, which is fabulous because it's actually one of the few things in the world that actually is 5 minutes. You know, everyone says, you know, make millions of dollars, 15 minutes a week. You know, there's so many hypes out there, but the 5-minute gratitude journal is a 5-minute gratitude journal, and I write in it every single day. The point being is when you're grateful, it reinforces. And when you write a note, just sharing gratitude, it's firing off endorphins in your own mind. It is improving your physiology, and it is growing your health and well-being. John Kurlick, and I might have pronounced his name wrong. It begins with a K. He wrote a book where he shares 365 days of gratitude, and he talks about the transformation of his life when he was just down and out, and he just goes, who can I just say thank you to? And he wrote one thank you note a day for a year, and he chronicled his whole journey and explained how everything changed for him, because just by him being grateful, it changed his physiology. And then the little seeds that he sent out, think of them as little pebbles in the pond. They ripple out through the universe, and then they come back. They get to the shore, and then they come back. And if you've ever been on a very smooth lake and you throw a pebble out to the middle, and you watch for the whole time for the pebble to the ripples to go all the way out, people forget that those ripples hit the shore, and then they come all the way back to the center. And they're usually larger than they were when they went out. And that's what this is. A thank you card is that pebble in the consciousness of the universe that sends out waves of joy and gratitude that then come back to you because you're the center point.
Yes.
And that's why if you focus on gratitude, everything else grows and manifests beautifully.
Yes. Isn't that just a beautiful thing, Stephen, how that something as simple as focusing on gratitude, how that can expand and grow. I really feel, I've always believed if you take a moment every day to focus on something you're grateful for, it sets the whole tone of your day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's so to get myself out of the hospital alive, I focused on one phrase. What can I do to be happy today? And a lot of times it was just being happy that I woke up. It was being happy that there was someone there to take care of me. I was happy that I had the green button many times. And I was happy that they had an IV in me and keeping my body alive because I couldn't eat. For 16 days, they couldn't find the fluid that was in my peritoneum cavity. Then one day I was happy that they found it. And when they pumped out the fluid, my brother had called, and he had been up in San Francisco at a conference. And he said, Stephen, he goes, what happened? I said, they found it. The fluid had all been hiding up underneath my lungs, and they pumped out 7.5 liters of fluid. He said, Stephen, he goes, that's like a case of wine. And I said, aren't there 12 bottles a case? Aren't there 12 bottles in a case of wine? And he started laughing. He goes, just tell people it was a case of wine so that they understand. But even in that moment, my brain's like, well, wait a minute. 7.5 liters, a bottle of wine, 750 mils. Well, 10 times 750, that's 10 bottles of wine. There's 12 bottles in a case. So we were at least laughing about that, because here I am, still hooked up to all these machines, but I'm cognizant of what's going on in my life. And we were able to laugh.
Yes.
And those were the little moments. You know, I was happy that my brother called to see what had happened, to see what the next step was. And now, when people ask me how I am, I have two phrases. One is, I didn't sleep in a hospital last night, you know? And the two is, I haven't crapped my pants today. And those are two things that are very low bars to be happy about. And it makes me very, very conscious that I'm aware of what I've gone through to get where I am. And those are little things that remind me that I'm still in the universe, and I'm just going to keep swimming.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep swimming and share with people. You can only focus on one thing at a time. And that one thing is being grateful for one thing that you have.
Yes.
And everything else actually will expand and grow from there.
Yes. And I loved, you know, all your sharing about the thank you cards and that. And you know what it made me think about was, you know, because you kind of forget about that, what that does for others. But you send a thank you card or an acknowledgement, that's letting them know that you're grateful for them.
Exactly.
We forget to do that in life. We get so
We do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a great reminder for me. Mm-hmm.
It is, you know, we are so caught up in me, you know, and I don't say that in a bad way, because, you know, we got children to take care of, we got parents to take care of, we have jobs, we have, you know, shows that we want to watch, we have books that we want to read, we have reports that we have to get done. There's so many things that when we have that 10 or 15 or 20 minutes with a lunch with a friend, to take 60 seconds and drop them a note saying, hey, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to actually sit and visit and have a coffee with me, or have lunch with me, or have dinner with me, or have a glass of wine. Is that moment is what bonds. And by acknowledging that and sending that card out, it goes back to their brain, and they get to relive that time they shared with you, which reinforces the neural pathway of developing that deeper relationship. And we're in a world right now where we're starved for two things: appreciation and attention.
Mm-hmm.
All the studies they talk about, you know, happiness at work, it's if they feel appreciated and if they feel their supervisor pays attention to them. When they talk to people that are depressed, it's like, you know what, nobody appreciates what I do. When they talk about people that are unhappy, it's like, you know what, nobody pays attention to me. Nobody would miss me if I was gone. And sending these notes out lets people know that you would miss them if they were gone. And that's the deeper meaning of it, because we have a conscious choice to let people know that we're grateful that they're here. And the system in the business of gratitude allows you to do that on a daily basis in the same amount of time it takes to brush your teeth.
Yes.
And if you've learned how to brush your teeth, you've learned how to comb your hair, you can learn how to write a handwritten note to your friends every day. And I challenge you to just do it for 30 days and see what kind of difference it makes for you.
Oh,
And track it.
I love that. And Stephen, can you tell everyone where they can get a copy of your book, please?
The best place to get it is Amazon.com. It's both on Kindle version and hardback. My website is www.stephenalittlefield.com, and that's STEVENALITTLEFIELD. And you can share there. We're still working on growing the community. There is an opportunity, though, that you can share your gratitude story, and then we can post it as we grow, because sharing what the results that you get is going to reinforce your habits. And that's what this needs to become. This needs to become a habit, conditioned so that you, like exercising or eating or going to work or driving your car. You know, how many of you can drive your car and drink your cup of coffee, turn the blinker on, change the radio station, and not even think about it? And yet, if you think back when you're trying to get your driver's license, it's like, wait, okay, put the brake on. Wait, put it in drive. Wait, oh, look left, look right. Now you're completely conscious, unconscious of everything else that's going on because you've gotten so competent at it. And that's what will happen. Do you think about brushing your teeth, or while you're brushing your teeth, are you going through your checklist of everything you need to do that day?
Yeah, you're thinking of other things. Yes.
And that's the same thing as driving. And that's how good the brain is. Your subconscious mind will take care of you if you feed it the right things. You know, I remember when computers first started, they had a thing called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. You know, whatever you put into the computer, if you put in bad programming, you were going to get out bad programming, a bad result. So with your subconscious mind, it's up to you to program. And if you keep focusing on, I was grateful I met Paula. I was grateful I met Dave. I was grateful I met Preston. I'm grateful. And all of a sudden you want to say, you know what? This is a way to say thank you in a very simple way. And yet it is unbelievably powerful, because when they open that card, they remember the time you guys shared together. And what happens is, with the brain doesn't distinguish between memory and reality. And they've done several studies of having kids sit in a corner and visualize making free throws, and then kids actually making free throws, and the results were the same. Because if you program your subconscious mind, it's going to bring more people into your life that you can be grateful for, which gives you the opportunity to send out more thank you notes, and then you get more people to be grateful for, and then you have the opportunity to send out more thank you notes, and then you have more people to be grateful for, and then you have the opportunity to send out more thankful notes. And that's the sustaining cycle of gratitude in your life.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Stephen, I'm afraid our time has flown by.
Well,
it's been just fantastic.
That's what happens when you're in the universe of joy.
I'm so grateful to have you on the show.
I am grateful to be here.
Oh, and to everyone out there, I'm so grateful to my viewers, my listeners. Love, hugs, and blessings. Stephen, love, hugs, and blessings.
Thank you, and many more back to you.
Bye.